Hey, greetings, teachers and staff of Champion School. This little video is just to help celebrate our growth and our journey of helping our kids become successful at everything. And one of them this year is writing. We're going to be working on writing. And so these short little videos are set to help us succeed even more. And we're going to collaborate together and learn from each other and all of the PLCs. And it's going to be fantastic. You're right, Roxy? Yeah, right. So writing, why does writing matter? Well, in the world that our students are heading toward, one of the biggest things that every business is going to need is communicators. And so what if we help our students grow in not only writing beautiful essays, but turning it into verbal communication as well? And so when we look at what we really want our students to be able to do, it's to be able to use that writing process. In other words, follow the format of writing an essay. And of course, we want that thesis statement with like 3 claims, and then each of the following paragraphs will tell about one of those claims and support it with details and evidence to support it, and then of course end with the conclusion. But can we add more to that writing format than that? Well, I think we can, and I'm finding that it really makes your test scores go up. And hooks can make a giant difference. So just what are hooks? Well, I found that they are the appetizer to the essay. In other words, they're the icing on the cake. And what do? Well, they engage the reader and they set the stage for the reader to understand and want to read on. And they make our test scores soar. I find that with hooks, the students who really engage and know how to do this, their score goes up a level. So in other words, if they were proficient, they move up to highly proficient and so on. So it really makes a difference, and it also sets them up to be ready for life. So our goal in this little video is to find out, hey, what are those hooks? And then how can we get our students with weekly writing of essays to be able to become proficient in using them? And so this writing format of the essay has these 2 paragraphs added before the essay. Like I said before, they're the appetizer to the essay. They make the reader want to read that essay. So notice the 2 paragraphs I added are background hook, and main idea question hook. And they are added to all of my students' essays. And we evolve in them all year long. We do 1 to 2 essays a week, so students get really fluent at using this writing process. So background hooks. What are background hooks? Well, they give the reader a picture. And it can be like the setting of what they're going to be reading about. It can be action, or it can be conversation. And I think that list could expand. And together we'll collaborate to come up with even more ways to make that background hook happen. Here are some examples from my students this year. We were reading about how animals can survive in harsh climates. This particular essay was one of the test preps that was helping us get ready to do the state test. And so here's Sterling's background hook that was at the beginning of his essay. It's just to give the reader a picture. It was a peaceful day as the Arctic fox blended in with the snow, with its fur being as bright as heaven. Ooh, hear that simile? And the emperor penguin was protecting his egg like a knight protecting his king. But the poor wood frog was in its harsh, freezing, cold environment. It was a fine day in Alaska. Snowflakes were falling like raindrops in slow motion. So Sterling gave us a picture of what we're going to be reading about in his essay, and that's animals that survive in harsh climates. Here's another one who was doing an essay on 2 kids. One went to Alaska for a trip, and the other went to North Carolina, and it was paired reading, so they were comparing the 2 students' adventures. And so here's his background hook. It was a frigid day in Alaska. Snow silently fell from the cold clouds. The white snow looked like fresh marshmallows. It smelt like fresh nature. On the other hand, North Carolina was scorching hot. The bright sun was glaring right at the island, and it smelled like fresh peaches and you could see wild ponies walking around. So in this case, Hunter's trying to give us a picture of both settings, and he did it in such a good way. And in another video, I'm going to talk about how to get kids to write like with such vibrant words like that and use similes and metaphors. Here's another one. We were reading about Anne Frank. We were studying the Depression and all the horrors that happened at that time with the Nazis and the poor Jewish people who were rounded up into camps. But anyway, this was from the diary of Anne Frank. And so his background hook kind of gives us a picture of action. Listen to this. Quick, everyone, up in the annex. While the Nazis barged like an angry bull, the Franks were hiding in the annex. And with the softest voice, Mr. Frank said, "Sounds like they're almost on looking for us." And so he in this one too just gave us a beautiful picture about what we're going to be reading about. I definitely want students to have a background hook at the beginning of the essay. Oh, it is just a classy way to begin the essay. It gives the reader a picture, makes the reader want to read the essay, and it's definitely a year-long evolution. Now, I used to teach each of these strategies like main idea hooks and background hooks and classy words at different times throughout the year. You know what I've learned? Hey, do the whole shebang all at the same time, and it really works. So how do I make that happen? So what I do is I guide it. I guide their writing one paragraph at a time. So for example, if we've just read a common lit article and we've done all the hook questions, students also know what the essay question is, so they've got their webbing maps all set to go with their evidence to elaborate in the main part of the essay. But we'll talk all together as a class. We're going to do the background paragraph. It's going to give us a picture. Let's see. Let's think. What do we see in that article? Or hear, or smell, or taste, or touch? What words can we have in a paragraph to give the reader a picture of that? And so for 5-10 minutes, everybody writes on that one paragraph. What happens next? Then we celebrate their writing on the screen. And so the two big pieces I do in their writing is I guide, and then we celebrate. And so what does that celebration look like? Well, I say, after that 10 minutes, I say, hey, who wants to share their essay? Well, everybody does. And so we look at one at a time, and then we read it together. We savor it on the screen, and we say, wow, is this ever cool? So here's Logan's. It was way last October when he wrote this one. It was a relievingly sunny morning, and the birds were chirping like magical flying instruments with a bizarre, ear-softening tune. And so we'll read that sentence and we'll say, oh my gosh, does that knock our socks off or what? What did he do that made this just so incredible? Yeah, those adjectives. Ooh, relievingly sunny. Those are incredible. And then that simile, birds were chirping like magical flying instruments. Oh my gosh, how did you think of that, Logan? And then with a bizarre, ear-softening tune. Did you hear all those adjectives? Bizarre, ear-softening. Wow. The trees were waving in the crazy, never calming down wind like they were waving. Hello. What a powerful simile that is. And the trees reached to heaven like they were saying hello to Jesus. Ants were crawling ridiculously fast like they were saying, retreat. And so we stop and talk about what that person did. And we also can offer them suggestions like, what could we do to make it even better? We always use words like that, like, wow, this is really cool. Can we make it even better? And so that's how I push my students along, is those celebrations where we show it and we get excited, and we're always looking at the positive things, not so much the negative things. And I'll even say, hey, there's a frozen Otter Pop in the freezer for anyone who really knocks our socks off. So Logan would get an Otter Pop for that one. It's that blooming cool. Yeah, it is. So the other hook, the second paragraph, is main idea hook question. So hook questions are kind of like the main idea, except they're in a question form. Why? We're not in the 50s anymore, so why have just a boring telling topic sentence? Why not turn it into a question which engages the reader, makes the reader think, makes the reader wonder? So here's one. This happened to be the Anne Frank one, and here are his hook questions. Have you ever been in so much danger that you had to leave your own country? Were you ever seriously forced to hide? Have you ever been wanted from the police? And so notice all of these hook questions just hammer the main idea. That's exactly what this story was about, and that's exactly what he's going to be writing about. But see, when it's in the form of a question, ooh, how compelling it is, and how it makes you want to read the essay. Here's another one. This was about animals in harsh climates. Do you know how animals survive in harsh climates? Why do some animals have special traits? Do you know why animals need to survive in these areas? How do some animals find food in almost empty climates? And so all of these questions make us wonder about those animals before we even read the evidence part of the essay. And here's one last one. This happened to be about Stephen Bishop, who was a slave that helped explore the Mammoth Cave. And so here are her hook questions. How can someone become a hero? Wow, that's just what happened to Stephen Bishop. Have you ever done something that can hurt or kill you? No kidding, that's what happened to him as he explored those caves, as he was in danger all the time. Do you know someone that's enslaved? Have you ever memorized 8 miles in a cave? Wow, all of those just hammer the main idea. So we just finished the background hook paragraph. In other words, we guided them through the writing, they did the writing, and then we celebrated it on the screen. Remember, the 2 big pieces are guide, yep, and they do it, and then you celebrate. So the same is true now for the next paragraph. We're ready to do that one with the main idea hook question. So we want to hammer that main idea and capture that main idea. And so then we just talk about the article. What was the main idea of the article? What questions could we write that would just totally focus on that main idea? And so students then, for maybe 5 minutes, because these don't take long, probably we want 2, 3, 4 main idea hook questions at the most, not more than that. And so everybody's writing that. And then in about 5 minutes, then we celebrate. So Brooklyn has hers on the screen, and so we read it and we analyze if those main idea question hooks actually capture the main idea of the article. Have you ever experienced fear but enjoyed it? Yeah, the article was certainly about that. Do you enjoy the thrill of being scared? Have you ever had a fear caused by a traumatic event in life? Did you know that fear can be helpful in some cases? Have you ever thought that fear is always protecting you, not tormenting you? And so the article was about a number of things, and each of these will hit the main idea. And what I often ask the students is, which is the best one? You know, which one really, really captured the main idea? And is there one we maybe might want to get rid of that totally doesn't? And so it's kind of a good experience of just capturing that main idea. And so that celebration, it helps students grow in that throughout the year. So we'll maybe show 3 or 4 students writing on the screen. We don't want to take up too much time, but once again, we guide each paragraph one at a time, and then we celebrate it. And so it really helps students know how to do a background hook paragraph and a main idea hook paragraph in not much time at all. In a few weeks, we're up and rolling on doing some really good ones. And as we do them all year long, oh my gosh, they become pros at it. It's so important in writing to see the good. I mean, writing's hard. Just look at all the pieces of writing, all the punctuation and all the spelling and all the ways that words can maybe not make sense, but I don't focus on those because I know we're going to evolve in them. I'm going to give them strategies on all those throughout the year, so I never want to paralyze their ability to write. So I'm always looking at the good that they do, and I think that's a main part of helping kids to grow in their ability to write fluently without fear of doing that. So in this short little video, hey, if you want to make your essay be really good, start out with a background hook paragraph, give the reader a picture, and then guide the students to do it and celebrate their good work. And then the other one, of course, is the main idea hook questions. A question makes the reader think, and it captures the main idea. And this will make your essays totally soar.